Hilton brings you new ways to stay, with experiences that let you capture the glory days. Introducing the Graduate Hotels. Each inspired by local college towns, these stays are always original and never boring. Get in touch with traditions all across the country and enjoy a stay that's a class above the rest. Book at Graduate Hotels with Hilton Honors Points at Hilton.com. It's a win-win. Hilton, for the stay.
Llévate más de lo que esperas todos los días con el nuevo McValue en McDonald's. Ahora puedes comprar uno y sumarle otro por $1. Así que cuando tu equipo favorito enfrente a sus rivales, enfrenta tus antojos con $5 Meal Deals. Y si estás corriendo para alcanzar el desayuno, corre al app para llevarte ofertas antes del cutoff. Tú decides, y con McValue, tu decisión siempre rinde más. Precios y participación pueden variar. BOGO $1 válido para un producto de igual o menor valor. Debe estar registrado en Rewards para ofertas en el app.
The story of a woman that claims was abducted by beings from another world. This event, among other documented files, leave us wondering that there is a possibility that we are not alone in this world. Welcome to another episode of the Chronicles of the Unexplained podcast. The following story got it via voice message. I remind you that you can send me your stories through my website www.unexplainedpodcast.net, where you will find information on how to write your story. Or if it's easier, you can leave me a voice message on my social networks, Facebook or Instagram. I'll leave the links in the description of the episode. In 2005, we lived in a small community on the outskirts of the city of Nuevo Casas Grandes in Chihuahua. I was asleep in my bedroom. It would be around 2:30 in the morning. I woke up and realized that my glass of water that I always leave at night on the table next to my bed was missing. I got up, went to the kitchen, and when I go back to my bedroom, I see a small light that illuminated the window of the living room. I didn't give it much thought, being half asleep, and since that window faced the street, the first thing I thought was that some car was passing by. When I get to my bedroom and try to go back to sleep, I notice a kind of sound or buzzing, like when you turn on an electronic device. Again, I didn't give it too much thought, so went back to my bedroom. And just when I'm about to fall asleep, something wakes me up. I open my eyes and I see the reflection of a light. I stayed still for a few moments, observing how it becomes more and more intense. It is so bright that I can see that glow from my bedroom since the door was open. I started to feel scared, because not only was the light intensifying, but at the same time, the sound was increasing. I could feel it. I could feel it coming towards my bedroom. My first reaction was to try to wake up my husband, but no matter how much I talked to him and moved him to wake him up, he was still asleep. It startled me that the light was so bright that I thought it was already inside the bedroom. It dazzled me in such a way that I could only see two beings with humanoid shape standing next to my bed. I could only see their silhouette. They were thin, of medium height, and they were white. I was paralyzed with fear. I wanted to move and I couldn't. I was literally paralyzed. I couldn't scream. I couldn't articulate a single word. Suddenly, I see how one of them brings his hand to me, and I feel like my body falls into the void, like when you are dreaming and you wake up in a very hasty way that you even shudder. Then I see myself on a metal bed, like a hospital surgery room. I could feel the cold on my back, and that ringing in my ears so intense and so sharp that it seemed that they were going to burst. Here I want to emphasize something that is important. I have a nightstand table with a lamp. I always turn it on to read a little before going to sleep. So my bedside table lamp is always plugged in. When I returned from the kitchen, I remember very well saw it unplugged. It seemed strange to me because no one moves my things. But I didn't give it too much thought at the time, and I left it that way. When I was seeing myself on a metallic table, I see around me more white beings. I can't see their faces, I only see their silhouette, and I begin to feel a tremendous heaviness in my body. My legs and my arms felt very heavy, but at the same time, I felt as if I was being connected to a source of power, like when you have an electric shock. I asked them who they are and what they want from me, that they please don't do anything to my children. And they answered that nothing bad was going to happen to them. This communication was somehow strange, since there was no vocalized word. I heard everything in my mind. It was as if we managed to read our thoughts. I don't know how much time passed. Maybe it was about 15 or 20 minutes in that lying position without me being able to move and feeling those electric shocks all over my body. Suddenly, in the blink of an eye, I'm in my bedroom lying on my bed. There is no light. There are no beings. There is nothing. I turned to look at the clock and it was 5:40 a.m. My first thought was to believe that it had been a dream, or rather a nightmare. I was still terrified. My head was spinning from thinking so much about what exactly happened. On the one hand, I convinced myself that it had all been a dream, since the experience seemed impossible to me to happen. I usually rarely dream, or at least I never remember my dreams. On the other hand, something deep inside me told me that I hadn't dreamed it, because my arms and legs hurt. My body felt very strange, as if asleep. Another important thing I must mention is we have a dog that usually barks a lot when he hears any sound or when a visitor arrives that he doesn't know. That night, I never heard him bark. When it dawned, everything looked very normal. That day was Saturday. I go out and check my dog. I don't notice anything strange. My children are still sleeping, and when I was fixing something for breakfast, I asked my husband if he remembered that I was trying to wake him up in the middle of the night. He told me that he hadn't felt or heard anything. I turned on the TV and see on the local news that there had been a short circuit near the area where we live and a tree had caught fire. Neighbors reported the anomaly around 2 a.m. I don't pay too much attention to the news, but when one of my children gets up and comes to the kitchen, he asks what I was doing up at midnight. When he tells me this, I must admit that I felt very afraid. I asked him what he was talking about. He tells me that he got up to the bathroom and that there was a bright light under the slot of my bedroom's door. Apparently, the door was shut, which is weird because I remember well I left the door opened when I came back from the kitchen when I got out to get my glass with water. When I heard this, I was stunned, totally surprised. When I go to my bedroom, I see that the bedside lamp is still unplugged. What was my surprise when I realized that both the outlet and the plug of the lamp are totally burned. to such an extent that the plug melted completely, as when there is an electrical overload. Seeing this, I am 100% convinced that it was not a dream, that what I experienced was something real, because many details indicate that. To date, I wonder what happened in those 3 hours. There are many questions and few answers. I think I will never be able to know that. If you like the episode, please share it with someone you know loves paranormal or unexplained stories. Follow me on different podcast platforms to receive notifications whenever a new episode comes out. Follow me on social media, where I share previews of new episodes before they are published. Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube as unexplained.enigma. Facebook, Chronicles of the Unexplained. Thanks for listening, and see you all in the next unexplained story.